Before we get into the deck profile, I just want to announce that our Patreon page is finally live. So if you want to go and check it out, the link will be down in the description below. But without further ado, let's get right into the deck profile. Hey everyone, thank you for tuning into Team Forbidden's YouTube page again. It is Andrew the Collector here with a brand new deck that we have yet to do on the channel, Evilswarms. This deck actually used to be incredibly good meta back a long time ago. I want to say between 2012 and 2014, because Ophion was such a boss of a monster, at least back then. And it can even still be devastating nowadays. I mean, obviously with Lynx and with Xyz, it's not as relevant as it used to be, but still, it's great against most of the decks that you can go up against, such as Shaddoll, Eldritch, or even a Drytron in Virtual World if you play your cards right. So without further ado, let's get right into the deck profile. Alright, so starting off with the monsters, we have three Evilswarm Heliopolite, or Heliotrope, my apologies. He's basically your standard level 4 normal monster for the Evilswarm, and he's essential for a lot of the combo cards that you have in this deck, which we'll get into in a second. Then we have three Evilswarm Caster. He's a really interesting card, and he's really good. He's a level 4. And when you normal summon him, his effect reads that during the turn this card is normal summon, you can normal summon one Evilswarm monster in addition to this card's normal summon or set. This is a condition, it's not an activated effect. So even if this card gets impermanence, Forbidden Chalice, or skill drains up on the field, you still get the effect because, again, it's a condition. Which is technically an effect, but it's not an activated effect. So that's really good. For your recursion, we have Evilswarm Kirikelion. Sorry if I butchered that name. Its first effect is irrelevant, but its second effect is what you really need. Is that you can banish one Evilswarm monster in your graveyard to add another one to your hand, and then you can do an immediate normal summon. So it's good. It's really good, especially when you want to recur stuff. And your Cyber Dragon of the deck is Mandragora. Basically, if your opponent controls more monsters than you do, she's a free special summon. It's really good. And your final Evilswarm monster is Evilswarm Thunderbird. Sorry for the glare. Basically, she has what's the kind of effect? But basically, during either player's turn, when a card or effect is activated, you can banish her until the next turn standby phase, which is really good. So yeah, that's all the Evilswarm monsters. It's basically just a rank 4 engine that you basically want to get you to your Ophion as quickly as possible, or any of your rank 4 monsters. For the other monsters, we have 3 Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, 2 Ghost Spell and Haunted Mansion, and 2 Rescue Rabbit. For the hand traps, you can basically run any hand traps depending on what the meta is. And for the Rescue Rabbit, for your Heliotrope, I only run 2 because I felt like 3 was a bit cloggy, and when I play tested with this deck, I always usually open with a Rescue Rabbit or I draw into it. No problem. So, I mean, you can run 3 if you want. It's up to preference, but I think that 2 for me is perfectly fine. Now, off to the spells. It's a dark deck, mostly. So, yeah, you run Allure of Darkness because, again, aside from the hand traps, it's mostly dark monsters. So why wouldn't you run a Allure of Darkness in, a dark deck? Now this next part is going to be interesting. I have 1 Unexpected Die and 2 Cosmic Cyclones. Normally I would run 3 Unexpected Die, but I only have the 1, so I'm substituting it with 2 Cyclones, because one thing that this deck has trouble with is back row a lot of the time. So until I get two more unexpected die, I'm just substituting them. But if you have 3 die, run 3 die instead. And then 2 of the deck the card that makes this deck mostly possible is 3 Infestation Pandemic. This is a quick play card which makes all your Evilswarm monsters, or Illswarm monsters, I should say, unaffected by spells and traps. It's the best. It's part of the combo with Ophion, which I'll get to, which you'll see why in just a second. And then this is mostly a lockdown deck, so obviously I'm going to run 2 deck lockdown. You set up Ophion, set up your back row, and then activate this if you're going first, and your opponent will may most likely have to pass turn because there won't be a lot that they'll be able to do. Now after the traps, the best floodgate for this deck is there can be only one. All of your monsters have different types. You have rock, you have beast, you have thunder, plant, spellcaster, warrior, and Ophion's a dragon. So yeah, this card does not hinder your deck whatsoever, and it will definitely hurt your opponent if they're running Drytron, Eldritch, Zodiac, and Virtual World even. It's a real nasty card. And then 3 Stormy Mirror Force and 2 Solemn Judgment. You can basically run any kind of back row that you want, but I found that this is really works really well with the deck. And then 1 Infestation Terminus. Target 1 Evilswarm monster that you control and 2 cards your opponent controls. Banish the first target and return the second 2 to the hand. Really good interruption if you have extra materials on board, or if your Ophion has no more materials that you can spare. And then 1 Infestation Infection. This is an interesting card because once per turn, you can shuffle 1 Evilswarm monster from your hand or face up on the field into the deck, and then search out another Evilswarm monster from your deck to your hand. It would be a lot better if it weren't a trap, but the thing that I think makes it worth playable is that you can do cards from either the field or the hand. And that's it for the trap cards. Onto the extra deck. Now, the card that makes this deck possible is Evilswarm Ophion. This card is quite a boss of a monster. Its base effect is that while it has exceeds materials, level 5 and higher monsters cannot be special summoned. So, which basically makes it kaiju proof almost, or basically, yeah. So if you get this out, unless they get out a really good exceeds monster or link monster, which most likely they can a lot of the time, your opponent won't be able to do stuff. But again, like I said back in the day, it was really savage. And once per turn, you can detach a material and then search out any infestation spell or trap, which will like 9 times out of 10 be your pandemic. So the idea is that you get him out, use his effect to search Infestation Pandemic, set it, and then just stall out until you slowly bleed out your opponent by slowly chipping away at their life points with your monsters and attacking. Now on to their link monster, Steel Swarm Origin. This card is really interesting. While this card is in the extra monster zone, if a monster would be special summoned from the extra deck to the main monster zone, it must be special summoned to a zone that this card points to. While this card points to a monster, neither player can target it with card effects, also cannot be destroyed by battle, and once per turn when a monster on the field is destroyed by battle or by card effects, you can special summon 1 level 4 or lower Evilswarm monster from your deck in defense position up to the number destroyed. So yeah, if you manage to pull off that second effect, it's really good because it can be from monsters being destroyed from either side of the field. So let's say you destroy your opponent's monster, you can just special summon a monster out from your deck for free. In defense position, sure, but still, free is good. And it's a lockdown effect to where both you and your opponent can only special summon to zone this card points to, is really good, especially against combo decks. I don't know why people didn't use this more in the last format when like Adamancipator, Eldritch, and what was it called? Infernal Knights were running around, but I think it's a really overlooked floodgate effect that not a lot of people can really fully utilize. and its effects are, and its materials are 2 Evilswarm monsters, so you know that's probably why, because it's very specific. And then Utopia and Utopia Lightning, you know, to get over heavy boss monsters. 2 Abyss Dweller, Castel, Dark Rebellion, Guska, 101, and Tornado Dragon. You may notice I don't have Evilswarm, Nightmare, or Exciton Knight, simply because I don't have them. If you do have them, I would say run them, because obviously they're really good, and I would take out Honor Arc and Dark Rebellion, or even one of the Catasters, or the Castels. But generally, it's a rank 4 toolbox. So as long as you have, you know, your Ophion and your Origins, you can basically run whatever you want. But I would highly recommend the Exciton Knight and the Nightmare, because they're the best. Now off to the side deck, it's going to be, you know, Lancia, 2 DD Crow. It's you should know for this meta right now, to go up against Virtual World, Drytron, and all the like. Nibiru for the rogue decks. In case you go up against Dragoon, Kamungus, Ally of Justice, Psycho Reader for Drytron, and then 2 Mind Drain. I think this is one of the more underrated cards for the current format, because it's basically like Skill Drain, only it negates effects that activate in the hand, which Drytron and Virtual World do. So yeah, you side this in against them, set up your Ophion plays, set one of these face down, activate it, and they'll probably be unable to play. But you can substitute it out for Massacre for Strict if you want. It's totally up to you. But anyway, that is the deck. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Comment down below if you want to see any, if you have any suggestions for the build. I really love to hear your thoughts. Check out our links in the description. We now have a new Patreon and Instagram page. But yeah, hit that bell for more future locations. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll catch you guys later.